to Binjang 91.5, and it's time for Tech Talk with Mathew Dickerson. I'm Tony Graham. Good morning, Matthew.
Morning, Tony Graham. How are you going today?
Well, I'm quite well. Now, researchers have claimed there's a new internet speed record of 44.2 bits or bytes per second.
That's bits per second, terabits per second. It makes our measurable little 100 megabits per second look pretty pathetic with the maximum sort of NBN speeds that most people are using, doesn't it? So 44.2 terabits per second. They're claiming a world record. Of course, there's no Guinness World Record certificate attached to this one, but they've been doing these tests over about 75 kilometres. And, again, 44.2, we'd like that sort of speed when we're sitting there watching our movies or transferring some files around, especially when you get some larger files. They're not saying that this is going to be used in the NBN or in our homes anytime in the near future. It really is designed to be some sort of backbones linking data centres, for example. But they're claiming a world record based on that speed. And what they're doing is they're doing some real world testing with that because they want this to be used out in the real world. At the moment, it's really a laboratory, even though it is 75 kilometres apart. It's a laboratory type experiment. They're doing it all with a single chip. So this is quite interesting because, again, they're trying to set this up for what can be applied in the real world. And Australia's got a great history of coming up with some great innovations and having those used across the world. So hopefully this sort of speed will be used. It'll be used in practical senses. We'll be seeing it used in those sort of backbones. And eventually this same technology will be used to get us a bit more than our 100 megabits per second that we might have at the moment in our homes, Tony.
Yes. Now, Matthew, for the listeners, the limitations to the internet is not actually optic fibre, but how fast the coders and decoders are at each end, isn't it?
Well, there are a lot of limitations. And when some people get to the point where they've got an internet connection and they're saying, this is fantastic, I've got 100 megabits per second, that's really only talking about from their internet service provider to their home. But there are so many limitations across the internet, and where you're getting your data from is an incredibly important part of that. So if you're accessing a data center, you're accessing some cloud services, for example, and you're the only one accessing it, that's fantastic. You might get all the bandwidth available, but of course, that's not going to happen in the... Your 100 megabits per second might be totally irrelevant in the whole scheme of things because there are so many people accessing it. And we found that with some of the providers, the movie providers, the Netflixes, etc., when COVID-19 first hit, suddenly the amount of pressure put on their back end from all the people suddenly sitting at home watching movies. So they actually downgraded the quality of all that content across the world because that put less stress on how much bandwidth was needed for all those service providers. So there are so many different parts of the internet that make up how fast, when you sit down to your computer or your TV, how fast that connection is.
Yeah. And on the same topic, in a sense, Telstra's 5G has clocked 157 megabits per second on average, says Open Signal. Yeah,
this is an independent testing company, Open Signal, and they do tests around the world and they test a whole range of things. They're doing some testing on 5G at the moment. So 157 megabits per second. Again, the thing that's incredible about 5G is that we will see it taking over in some circumstances from people that have got the NBN. And the estimation is that by the time 5G is rolled out across the nation to the majority of the nation or the majority of users, you'll probably see about 30% of people that could get the NBN not have the NBN because they'll prefer 5G. And we were talking a second ago about 100 megabits per second for the speed that many people are using with NBN. Some people don't get that. 5G 157 sounds pretty incredible, but it's not the best speed around the world. Over in America, Verizon is the king of 5G at the moment, and they're getting speeds, they're getting download speeds of somewhere in the vicinity of 500 megabits per second, which is quite incredible. Now, their spectrum that they're using is up around the 28 and 39 gigahertz spectrum, so they're using that higher spectrum, which 5G, that's part of the 5G spectrum. That's not being used in Australia yet, and essentially that's the main reason they're able to get those higher speeds because they're using that higher spectrum. But around the world, Australia sits in quite a good spot. You've got places around, say, South Korea. Some of the telcos around there are getting, say, 200 meg download speeds. Most American internet service providers and telcos are not getting the 157 that we're getting here in Australia. So Australia's 5G network is pretty impressive in world scale.
Yeah, that's nice to know. Now, Matthew, Telstra's savage response to the 5G antenna conspiracy theorist is fake. But it wishes it was real, wouldn't it? It really did. I mean, it's quite incredible.
It is, and there's so much chatter around various conspiracy theory websites around 5G and the damage it's causing us. It's giving us a range of diseases, Tony. We're getting brain cancer at the moment. We're getting unnamed body diseases. We're getting coronavirus from 5G at the moment. But there was a very funny screenshot that was shared around the internet, and I don't think it quite went viral, but certainly a lot of people saw it, where there was someone talking about their conspiracy theory that 5G was causing a whole range of unnamed bad things, and supposedly Telstra responded and said that if you get 5G, then at least your conspiracy theory videos will be able to be shared even faster, which I thought was very funny. Telstra did come out and say it wasn't actually us that said that, it was someone else, just a fake Telstra account, but they did say we would have liked to have said that. So they saw the and they saw that someone was having a pretty good lend of some of these conspiracy theories that were going out there.
And this all comes as locals in Binjang on the New South Wales North Coast continue to protest, again blocking Telstra workers from accessing a 5G tower that's being installed, and Binjang Council, and what I have to say, has to be a failure in democracy if there ever was one, also buckled under pressure from campaigners passing a motion to halt the development of the antenna until health risks are assessed.
Yeah, it is. It is, isn't it? And you're right, there are some protesters around the world. They're trying to either do damage, or some vandalism happening to 5G towers, or the protest at Mullumbimby was a peaceful protest, but they were stopping workers going about their day and doing their work that they were legally allowed to do. And as you say, Binjang Council. And it is disappointing. Show me that there is definitely no health risk associated with any activity, and it's very difficult to do. Show me the evidence that there are health problems caused by 5G. Well, there is no evidence out there whatsoever to show that. And 5G and 4G and 3G and listening to the radio as we are now, Tony, all of these things involve electromagnetic radiation. And we know that the frequencies we're talking about are non-ionising frequencies. So that's been around for a long time, and we are yet to see any negative health impacts from electromagnetic radiation below the ionising level.
Yes. And we've been speaking to Mathew Dickerson on Tech Talk on Binjang 91.5. Stay tuned this afternoon at 3:40 and also next Tuesday and for the next edition. And it's back to the great music and community information on Binjang.
Thanks, Tony. Talk to you this afternoon.